guys, it is 4:31, and so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Just before we do start, for those of you that... Hello. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm glad you could make it. For those of you that have never attended an academic committee meeting before, we run it as a bona fide committee, but it's really pretty open to if you've got questions. The only thing I ask is that no one speaks over anybody and that we just kind of are very cognizant of that and so on. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Again, welcome everybody, and we have an agenda. Ms. Cushenberry has some more copies if you'd like a copy of what we're working on. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with, I have a motion to approve the agenda. I move. All in favor? Thank you. And the approval of the September 10th committee meeting minutes. Can I have a motion to approve those? A second. Thanks, Mel. Thank you, Kathy. All in favor? All right. Does anybody have a public comment they'd like to make? Because the way we run this, sometimes we don't have public comments because we do it throughout, so we'll move on. All right, the very first thing that on the agenda that we need to look at is the review of the administrative regulations, the ARs of IS 39, the virtual learning. And Ms. Cartledge, you had sent this out to us several weeks ago.
And it's been revised.
And it has been revised.
Because I wanted to thank Dr. Stratus, Chrissy Robinson, and Jerry Henderson for their input. So they've been revisions made too.
Okay. Well, let me just ask you this. Because the revisions, we didn't have an opportunity to see them prior to the meeting. When we looked at the original one that you sent,
Right.
Are there substantive revisions that it would be good to table these two things so that we really have time to review it, or are they fairly small revisions?
If I may, it was just consistency language.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think there was anything
No.
really major.
No?
No,
Okay.
no.
All
So,
right.
I mean, because I want to make sure that you all have an opportunity to, that you all are comfortable and opportunity to review.
Okay.
But we went through the consistency of language
Okay.
as well as looking at from every angle we could, in all truth, to see what we left out.
All right.
So
Well, I just
basically-
wanted to, I had sent a couple things, and I just wanted to see if they were here.
Okay.
Under the graduation requirements and diplomas, can you start with that one?
It's
Yeah.
under,
Okay.
It was just
You
something
are-
that I was confused about.
Okay, we're going to start virtual learning first.
So we're gonna
On
start
the
with
agenda.
virtual learning.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Virtual learning, the things that I sent were basically formatting issues, although I did have one that said the application for virtual learning courses, it specified that high school students have to receive permission from the parent or guardian, but that wasn't specified for middle school students.
So we did clarify.
you just, and we've made
Yeah,
revisions
so
to
yeah,
that.
that's one of the revisions actually
Okay.
that we did. So what we put in place was prior to going to the principal, especially at the high school level, that a approval from the guidance counselor is first, because as a person who should be doing confirmation of transcript, telling the principal that yes, Mary needs this course or XYZ, but then the principal can have that conversation to sign off. So we did guidance counselor, principal / and or designee. who
And
would be-
parent legal guardian.
Right, and parent legal guardian.
And we have that in there for both the high school
And
and
the
for
middle
the
school.
middle school.
So
And-
we're looking at 5, right? Can we just go, can we look at where it is? So it's Roman numeral 5.
It's on the bottom of page 2.
Okay, so high school students who desire to participate in virtual learning courses must receive permission from their school counselor, principal or principal's designee,
Mhm.
and parent legal guardian for enrollment. And then for middle school students, approval from school counselor, principal designee, chief instructional, or his or her. But where's the
And-
parent? Where's the parent?
Karen was left out on the
Parent needs to-
repetition.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's, I've just thought that, particularly the middle school parents, would
Have
want
to
to be aware that their child is
No,
considered
that
this
should be
because it's
in
much
there.
more work.
That should be in there.
Okay.
We looked at it too much, I fixed this. No, that should, I'm glad you all pointed that out. Okay.
Can we back up to 3B? Oh, no, there it is. Okay, so 3B, all Beaufort County School District virtual learning must be taught by a highly qualified teacher certified in that content subject area. Okay. But then when you look at 4B1, 4B1, the student's high school does not, you can take a class if the student's high school does not offer the course due to lack of certified personnel. So I don't know if that's contradictory. It sounds contradictory.
They would probably at that point be reaching out to South Carolina franchise, virtual, where they have certified teachers. And, or we would develop our own virtual franchise,
Okay.
then we don't have to get to South Carolina.
Now, I can think of an example where they offer AP Physics at Bluffton. We do not offer it at Beaufort High School. In the past, one of our students went there, but could it be that the highly qualified teacher is at another high school in the district?
If we did a blended model and it was approved, the answer to that would be yes.
So that would be a way
Yes.
that
Okay.
Right, so
it
that
could not be
child could
offered
sit,
at the building.
be
but-
registered to your school, pulling up information on Google Docs at my school and being able to do a blended model, maybe with all the technology we have in Zoom to
Right,
find.
yeah.
Or the teacher that was their
Yeah.
teacher of record would be at
Yes.
a different building.
Yes, but yet the
the
district will still
district.
keep the funding.
Okay.
So
And
do
what
you
virtual-
think that the language needs to be
I-
revised?
well,
I mean, do you think if
When
it's?
I read it, it sounded
That's right.
contradictory.
Yeah.
But it just sounded like, wait, you have to have a certified teacher to take virtual learning, but one of the reasons you can take virtual learning is because you have no certified teacher.
And
It just,
But
You-
the certified but the person that you're taking, that's giving you
The virtual learning
is,
is-
has to be certified.
Yes, that's right.
That's what I
So
understand.
in other words, you
this
don't
to
have it
say.
at the school where you are, so you need to look somewhere else.
and is virtual learning only referring to, I mean, is Edgenuity virtual learning?
that's a conversation, so what happens in a case like that, I read in recovery,
Right,
that teacher is acting as a facilitator versus a teacher of record.
right.
So I think the language regarding an instructional facilitator who is a certified teacher,
Mhm.
right, because you have to have our students be a certified teacher, that's the other side of that conversation.
And that's also, that's what popped up to me too,
Yeah.
is that I
Because
know
that
kids are.
was a sidebar on mine.
I can offer some
Mhm.
practice from the high school perspective. It does get dodgy because the teacher of record for some of the Edgenuity in the past, it's not happened this year because of some changes. But 3 years ago, I was told that I needed to be the teacher of record, but I had no access to anything the students did. And I refused. I said, I can't sign this because I don't know any
You can't.
what they did.
Yeah, it happens.
So if you put in the language that in a situation of credit recovery or unit recovery, right, in some sense you have to do a unit recovery, a teacher should be able to act as a facilitator versus, right now, if you were doing math, you were doing English, you were doing chemistry, I would have to have 3 different certified teachers in
Right.
the room.
According to that, yeah.
According to
Right.
this.
According to
And we know
this.
that doesn't happen.
Right. Because the possibility of having students who need those 3 different areas of remediation would more than likely happen at a high school.
Right. So how this
How do we fix
reads,
this?
So,
that's my concern is
Yeah,
that
there's a
parents
different
that have
AR
picked
with
this.
the credit recovery too, I think I've seen.
so
that.
is the language more to effect that all Beaufort County School District virtual learning courses must be taught by a highly qualified certified teacher? And in the area where it says in that content area, maybe that's the part that we're getting locked in?
That's what locked me into knowing that that's not what happens. That's not the practice.
And I'll be direct, you're gonna hurt kids if we just stay that way, because as a principal,
Mhm.
it's gonna be very hard to do, especially what you just put forward. I'm gonna go to a teacher who you have no connection to, and I'm gonna ask her to sign off.
You can't do that.
Right, I agree. That's why I wanted to make sure, see, I'm sorry, go ahead now.
Can you differentiate between credit recovery and course replacement, a substitute course?
Because in
That's an
these,
option.
in virtual
Credit and on unit
learning,
recovery.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
recovery,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because in these courses are, the student has to complete all assignments, course exams, state assessments are required for that virtual course. With the credit recovery and the ingenuity, that's different than this.
But it's still a virtual
But
course,
it's
no?
still a virtual, but it is still a virtual.
Does it overlay
course.
into that?
Isn't Edgenuity used for credit recovery?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But what Ms. Carpenter is saying though, that, is there a difference between me doing it for the first time or me doing it for a recovery
Which
practice?
is your point, right?
You've been in a
Right, that was the
course
point.
Right.
that's taught by a
Right,
certified
right,
teacher,
right.
now you're having a
So
difficulty.
you're failing it, so now
Right.
you can do it with someone that's not certified.
Right,
So-
because you've already been,
That's
well,
not
well,
personnel.
no, they're certified, they're
That's
certified.
subject
They're,
matter.
Right.
exact, because you've already been exposed to the curriculum.
And failed.
Right, and Edgenuity is designed to be prescriptive, so when I go in, I do a pre-test, if it's being
Right.
executed properly, I go in, I do a pre-test, it's designed that way,
Mhm.
so that I only have to remediate what I'm not showing mastery at.
Right.
And generally, it had been, I don't know if it's changed over the last 3, 4, 5 years, but it had been where the teacher of record is what the person who had taught the person that subject.
They were defaulting to department
Yeah,
heads.
they were following, yeah,
And I can't sign off on.
right. And
Everybody.
the thing about it, it's supposed to have been a
Can't.
coordination between that person that's housing or manning the particular classroom with
Should
the
be
credit
the
recovery
teacher of
and the
record.
teacher of record. That was supposed to be the way it's done. Teacher of record say, all right, let me see what they did in that unit. Let me see, okay, I'll sign off now, that unit is okay. Because you already have the records on what unit was not satisfactory.
Right.
But, yeah, I guess that holds in it though.
So do we want to look at adding something, as Mr. Campbell put forward, regarding credit recovery on the context that a student has already sat for a course, did not meet success, and they are now resitting for the course and or miss units of study in order to have the appropriate seat time for the Carnegie unit?
I would err on the side of over-explaining so
Yeah.
that there is no,
For
Because
some
if we
reason-
don't have that, the kids are going to lose out, and you're going to impact schools, kids' opportunity to graduate.
and Tony wanted to,
I think there's a credit recovery around here.
Yeah, the point I was gonna make is, does this distinguish between the child who failed because he did not meet basic performance, or is it because he failed because of seat time?
It's not, right, it's not some,
it's just
You know,
failure.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's failure.
Both is the same,
Both is the
minor
same.
failure,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the course recovery, he already did the seat time, he just did not
Did not,
meet,
right, did
he
not.
did not meet the exam
Right,
standard.
yeah.
And, you know, if we're going to respect seat time, how do we not compromise that? You know, if I failed the course because I didn't meet seat time.
but they'll still have seat time during the credit recovery process. Now, South Carolina also has, and it's a waiver that has to be instituted by the school district, the opportunity for a waiver for requests of proficiency, demonstrating proficiency in the course in order to meet credit.
They
So
can do that?
it is in the,
Yeah, that's gonna be a whole new ball of wax, just meeting proficiency, you're not worried about the seat time.
but, right, Right.
Yeah.
but I'm pitching that out there for something to be, yeah, go ahead.
Just maybe would help the conversation. So as content coordinators, we help design the full credit recovery course for some of the courses so that it matches the seat time to the best of the ability of, you know, ingenuity in of itself. So, because some courses could be 180 hours, which is far too much. And then we aligned it backwards to the standards also. So when you have all of these options for ingenuity and we have to pare it down, so then we went into reading all of the quizzes to see which quizzes, which instruction best matched our standards, so then we can be more strategic to choose which of the lessons the students received and then also match the amount of seat time.
So both experiences meet the seat time criteria.
Right.
Yes, yeah. Right, some more seat time than needed, but it's, yeah.
And to give kudos to the school district, you're one of the few districts actually implementing ingenuity in this model. The time to put forward to do units of study that are aligned, you're one of the few, because most just sit the kid, take the pretest,
Let it do its work.
and let it do its work. Where here you actually have an alignment of what is pacing and what is an ingenuity that the principal, and I can speak for Mona because we were talking about this today, she's comfortable that the kids are doing this unit, what they missed during that period of their absence.
Yeah.
You know, not all school districts have, or schools actually have gone into ingenuity to that. That's
Because-
beyond.
And they've melded with the pacing guide, so they know when those students are absent on these particular days, this was the content that was taught. And as long as the teacher's being true to the pacing, then you should have that, correct?
Right,
Yeah.
so it's the intent to match it to the smaller unit, so if there's a standard instruction missed, then in real time, they could recover that work and not have to necessarily wait to this full credit recovery, so you can use it in both
They use
ways.
it as a unit instead of a course.
Talking about the pacing in Rubicon? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Because it's not scaled to transfer for 85-95, so you can't pace the same way. It's not day by day. They don't have an
They- no, they-
85-day Rubicon and a 95-day Rubicon that I saw.
No, it's paced by when the standards are taught.
Right, but you can say, I missed this day, and look in Rubicon and say, this is the day, and assign them that. You can do that.
No.
So it'd be the instruction standards on that day is how you would crosswalk
Right,
it back
right,
to
but
the
I just-
instruction
yeah.
in ingenuity.
And they monitor it weekly. So I could speak for two of the high school principals today in conversation. They actually monitor this process weekly of the students on ingenuity, and they have them do the makeup on Saturday if they're not meeting. It should be at least a 6% per course per seat times the amount of time, about 90 minutes. You should be able to do at least 6% of the course. So they're actually monitoring it weekly, but on Thursdays, if phone calls out and you're back in school on Saturday. So they're doing a very good job with it.
I looked at that ingenuity yesterday, and it showed how long it takes to do, how many minutes expected, and how many minutes a student actually
Yeah, I think there's
participated.
a lot of data.
Yeah.
But I think that however you guys, but did you see where it just appeared to be a
Yeah,
conflict?
and
I think
we're not addressing it.
an explanation. The next thing that I saw was, just a
Do we need to
question.
agree on some language before we move forward, or what?
Sure.
Okay, so.
So we have the issue of credit recovery.
ELA coordinator?
Language.
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
No.
So the intent is to delineate, do we have an admin rule with credit recovery currently?
Not
Because
that,
they need to,
First, why do I think we do?
I haven't seen, unless it hasn't
I mean,
pushed past my seat yet.
No, it has, it's,
Right.
I mean, reviewing
Okay.
other documents.
So, because that one seems more responsive to instruction and needs of students, credit
Mhm.
recovery versus this.
I mean, it seems like we would discuss credit recovery in a separate administrative rule.
B6
unless-
talks about credit recovery, so if you added
Yeah,
something
we have-
there about
right.
a teacher of record, that might solve the problem.
Where are we, Shannon?
B6.
yeah.
The student needs a course for credit recovery.
That's, I mean,
So-
that's under the general topic that these are people who
Yeah.
are capable.
Right.
She's saying that the teacher,
If you would
So that-
say there
yeah.
that who would act as, I don't know if it's appropriate, but that might be a place where you could add
It might be
something
the
about
place to
that.
add it, so they're not writing another administrative reg.
That's
right,
right.
Clarifying it there.
Just think it needs to be, so when principals look at and they start trying to, implement it, they don't say, okay, our department head is just gonna sign off on it, or,
Because it's gonna be, the principal's gonna read this, and are we talking virtual or credit recovery, and they might stop here.
Right, that's what I did in my mind,
Yeah.
when
They might
these are
stop
going
here.
back and forth.
And think,
And then when I did my notes on the side, I remember writing, facilitating for credit recovery, because.
so we should say, there
On
would be,
B6.
on the credit, under the needs of course for credit recovery, and will be, like, what, a facilitator will be monitored by a facilitator.
The students,
All virtual learning courses must be taught by a highly qualified teacher certified in that content-centered area. In the case of credit recovery, a certified facilitator may be used.
yeah.
I don't know, something like that.
It's actually a certification in.
A certified teacher.
Certified teacher.
Facilitating,
I
Right.
think it
Certified
would be
teacher.
as simple as not saying in that content area.
Right.
That you just make the stipulation that you're a certified teacher, not necessarily in that content area. Because you can monitor Edgenuity and not be an expert in that, of course,
That's
is
how
there.
it's designed for.
That's
So you could
exactly
say,
what it's designed
all
for, yeah.
BSCD virtual learning must be taught by highly qualified teachers, a highly qualified certified teacher?
Well, I think
Well,
that makes 3B the way it is, and then make an exception. Say credit recovery students can be taught by a certified teacher, not necessarily in the content area.
Yeah, I think to delineate it like that is really important,
okay.
because they are two
They are two
different
things.
things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the case of credit recovery, a certified facilitator,
A
teacher,
certified teacher may serve as a facilitator?
certified teacher may serve as facilitator. We're not saying in the
Yeah.
content area.
As a facilitator for the course?
Yes,
Or
or
credit-
slash courses, because you
Okay.
might have
Oh,
5
several
different
courses
courses,
for the credit recovery courses, okay. That's not okay, credit
and then it
recovery
leaves your
courses, yeah.
B6 clean the way it
Thank you,
is.
that was
Right.
helpful. Mhm.
And number 7, I wasn't sure why we had the and or at the end. It just leads into the student must be enrolled in the school.
I'm sorry, can you tell me, because
So
I
it
was
says,
like,
the student needs, the B7 needs the course, we're delineating, like, when virtual learning courses will be approved. They're approved
Right.
under these circumstances.
Because it's written in Suresh.
The student needs the,
You
okay,
don't need the animal,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
just cross it out.
just delete
Yeah,
and or,
yeah.
yeah, just delete it,
Right.
I got that, okay, thank you.
And this is just, not for this AR necessarily, Mary, but I was looking at number 7, the evaluation. And I think as an academic community, we'd be very interested in some evaluation of our virtual learning. Our credit
So-
recovery,
So
Not-
talk to what you
So
think,
in the
what
future-
that would look like, because that's,
I don't know. I mean, it would be like how many of our students are taking credit recovery? What, how are they broken out? How are they passing? Are they, I mean, just what was it? Do we really evaluate our virtual learning courses?
Is an effective
Right.
tool for recovery and credit.
Right, just because the state says we can
And
use
you know,
it,
we
is
can go
it?
further than that. I don't want to beat up on that right particular, but you want to also know what happens to that same child next year. If you,
or how many kids are actually earning credit in that model? How
Right.
does that
Yes.
sound?
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
Because
not for now,
Yeah,
but
I
for,
think it's,
you know.
I have to find out if in Power Tools, do we identify a course by Edgenuity versus a live teacher on the
know.
student transcript?
Yeah.
But wouldn't
Is
that be
there-
really good information to have?
Because, I mean, it justifies
If
the
it can be
technology.
codified, if it's codified,
a-
the answer is yes.
Yeah, justifies
It would be
the
if it was a
technology,
full
you know,
credit
or else
recovery,
it'll
so
be-
like a
Right.
retake versus
But
when
not-
you use it intermittently.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Right.
yeah,
For
right,
credit
for
purposes.
supplemental
Right.
reasons, right. And also, our entire right
James does,
choices,
he does.
our entire right choice, and we don't need to do this right now. We
Yeah,
can,
but I
we-
just need to find out.
Okay,
That's okay. That's
our
okay.
entire Islands Academy, that's what they used.
Right
Geneva.
choices.
No,
Well,
previous
previously.
years past.
That's all they did?
I think that was the delivery of instruction was through I'm not saying that's all they did, by any means. There was certainly some direct
Right.
instruction, absolutely. But it was a
But the model
highly
with-
the blended learning there.
Right.
So, so that's why it'd be just kind of important to see the effectiveness of,
A virtual.
right?
Yeah.
And to
Or
your point, we're
Edgenuity.
held to it by the state to some degree, but it would be interesting to know,
Justification to do
just in
a
case there's options.
A virtual franchise.
Yeah, so
I
the
keep
state
plugging
says
that
you have
virtual
to use
franchise.
Edgenuity?
We have to,
But it's a good
there's
idea.
options, it's one of the, like, it's an option.
Okay.
So, but we have to offer this,
something.
right.
So I will ask to look at how many students within the past few years have earned full credit utilizing Edgenuity if we have a codification model. Because the flip side of that is, at some point I'm gonna come to the committee and ask about looking, and I need to find out what the cost factor is, but looking at how do we develop a virtual franchise for Beaufort County, because now we're allowed to apply to the state for this, so that students who are homeschooled, maybe we can do the homeschool through us, have them register through us and use our virtual mod, yes. Or instead of a child being expelled, maybe you give them the option to the franchise course for a period of time for a year and then re-enter. right? So that's something I want us to look at as well at some point. So that would be a platform for discussion, right?
And weather makeup days?
Yes.
So there's some pilot schools across the state that are being allowed to use virtual learning, and apparently we applied but didn't.
We did apply?
Well,
Yes,
that's what I
we didn't get the
heard.
waiver.
We didn't get the waiver. We did
received-
apply?
Yes, ma'am.
We did apply?
Yes, ma'am, we did not receive the waiver. That was a discussion actually this morning with Dan and myself and Mona, because we were having that discussion this
Okay.
morning. We did not receive it.
Yeah, we knew we didn't receive it, we just wanted to
We
apply
want
for it.
to verify that we actually have applied.
Okay.
Back to data that you'd like to collect, I can give you a little bit of dirt
Yeah.
on what the students do. I would like to see an analysis of their tests, because I can tell you that students get retakes, and they have a minimum criteria they need to take.
Right.
So lots of students decide that they are going to write down the questions, they're going to answer A, they're going to see which ones they get right, they're going to ask for a retake, they're going to write B. Now they know which ones are A and which ones are B, and most of the time by the third take, without having done any work, they can meet the minimum standard by just
And
keeping
they're not
track of what
supposed
they're
to have
doing.
3 chances.
Right.
Are you talking
On the-
Edgenuity though? I've
yeah,
seen
she
that on
is.
USA Test
Yeah,
Prep.
yeah.
Okay.
They're not supposed to be able to have 3 chances. Edgenuity is designed for a two-time reset.
I'm not sure that's.
And so that's up to the ethical practice or practice within the school, so that may be something to have
When-
conversation.
Now,
When
this
it is
was
assigned though,
something
there
that
is only
happened
two,
at Iowa.
two, that's
The teacher
the,
that's
two.
there told me about
Right.
that. So
Now,
I
it
can't
was
say
that.
it's still happening anywhere right now.
Because it is a two-time, and that was another point of conversation this morning, because it's 2,
yes.
yeah. And that's a
What-
standard for the company, and that is,
And that can't be changed? Or it
a
is?
reset could happen, and it can be, a reset could happen. But I can't
But when-
speak for that from the classroom.
But if teachers start to do that, then it's harder to track, right? Because then it's a different course. So it's designed to have some consistency across the content areas as far as
Yeah.
the seat hours, the amount of retakes,
Right.
how you weight what the quizzes are versus the test, and then so there's a master, and then that's pushed out. So I guess that there would be a way to duplicate and edit, but I don't know
Okay,
that,
so this is all
that
for-
part of it.
The thing would be to make sure that all facilitators are well-trained
Right.
on the expectations and how it's supposed to be run.
That might be something to add in.
Yeah, that would, the Beaufort County School District shall evaluate the educational effectiveness
And confirm training,
Yeah.
because you're supposed to get
Yeah.
recertified every
Six.
year on Edgenuity usage. So that's gonna be something to reach out to the contract of service, to the company, or are we handling the retraining ourselves? Because you're normally supposed to get recertified every year to be the facilitator versus using it as a unit. Because as a facilitator teacher, they're supposed to receive training annually and updated.
Okay. Anything else on this AR?
Ms. Tricia, would you mind repeating what you said a minute ago? I got BSD should evaluate the
No,
effectiveness.
I was just reading.
You were just reading, okay,
Just
I thought you were
reading.
something you wanted me to add, wanted us to
No.
add.
No. Anything else, guys, on virtual learning? I covered it all.
Okay, so can we just regroup, make sure we got everything? So under 3B, we're gonna add in the case of credit recovery, a certified teacher may serve as a facilitator for the credit recovery courses. And then under 5A, we're going to add, middle school students must receive approval from the school council, principal, principal's designee, parent, legal guardian, and BCSD chief instructional services officer, his or her designee. Correct? Is there anything else?
But I don't think it wasn't 3B, it was 4B, right? Number 6, that we were adding that credit recovery disclaimer?
I thought we were putting the
No,
credit
it's in
recovery under 3B.
That's,
Or-
It was
But
4.
you want it under
6.
4B6.
But then
B6,
we
I
thought
think.
it fit
Or
better under
B3.
3B.
but
Oh,
but
you
as a
did
reader,
change it.
right, as a reader.
did, you're right.
Yeah, as a reader, that's what I said.
Oh, okay,
We
got
did,
it,
yeah.
got it.
Is that all right?
Yep, that's fine,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, just to make sure that I had all your revisions, thank you.
Yeah.
But do you want in here the training component that came out to the confirmation that they're updating the training? How are we protecting that the tool is being utilized effectively, what it's meant to do?
And that's you talking of the facilitators?
Yes, so that,
How do, no,
I mean, there's ways that it can be monitored.
Oh, there's 7C, appropriate day assessments in a proctored environment by a facilitator who has received training annually.
That's good,
Yeah.
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 Okay.
7C.
7C, after proctored environment by a facilitator who has received training annually.
A certified,
Okay, by the
certified,
okay,
Facilitator
certified facilitator, okay,
who has received training annually.
who has received annual training?
yeah, you want to
Okay.
time and place first.
Okay, real
Yes.
quickly, I just want to read to you from the regulation. Instructor requirements, instructors must complete all virtual education program pre-service and in-service training topics, eval, virtual ed, instructors for SED classified staff with, okay, blah, blah, blah. Virtual education instructors must meet all applicable ADAPT requirements if there's one. So there's a little thing about evaluation, so not much.
Let me ask Daniel on that question.
Okay. All right, graduation?
Now, the virtual education, just one more thing, it does have to report to the State Board of Education annually about all courses offered, what's been participating, number of home bound, success rates for students.
The homebound information
The
was
virtual education.
approved the other night.
Yeah, that's right, that was, yeah, that's
But what was
good.
the last thing you said? The successful?
It's got a, this says here.
But I thought it
Report
was
sponsor, school districts must report to the virtual education program reason for students withdrawal, virtual education program responsibility. So maybe this is the
That
state
virtual
one.
education
program, the
is
state,
program is different than
Than
the
the
use of
virtual- than-
Edgenuity.
yeah.
That's not a program,
mhm.
the virtual
right?
education.
Virtual education, we do not have a franchise here.
We only do virtual learning,
Right.
yeah. We don't have one yet.
And even if
We
you did,
virtual
I,
learning.
I let them say that. I mean, state standards is one thing, but different kind of expectations is another thing, and that's gotta drive our mindset in terms of these programs. You know, I'm not comfortable with just aligning with the state. Because first of all, I don't get enough feedback directly,
Or
you know,
time?
independently, right, or timely, in
Right.
terms of who we're working with and what we're doing. Yeah, you know, for example, the things we signed off on was, right, yeah, okay, if we fit and we qualify for renewal, but who's digging down at the state level to say, hey, this one's okay, that one's not.
Right.
It's a check off.
They're not, sir.
Exactly.
I know.
Okay. they're not.
And that's why we gotta do
Yes,
it,
sir.
and
Yes, sir.
all I'm saying
Yes, sir.
is,
Yes, I
same
agree.
thing with
You drive the
this.
bus too, yes,
my
sir.
mind, we got to look at this and see if it's working or not.
Right.
And not just because we're checking off the A's and B's here, but next year what happened to that child, because, and the next year, is that child really getting what they need to get to go to, from algebra to geometry,
Right.
you know? And that's a big part of our numbers, that's a big part of our negative numbers, those same children. They're the ones that drop out, they're the ones that don't, you know, get the scores up. So we gotta look and see, is this effective or is this just, times
And,
that we
and
do this?
Wendy, you didn't read that data needs to be reported to the state?
This
I
was
don't
the-
misunderstand you?
Here's the virtual learning procedures manual that I just got this afternoon.
Okay.
That has been upgraded, and there's actually, if we're talking about credit recovery, it is delineated in here. I don't know if you all want a copy of this or want to make reference to it, but it talks about
Who updated that one?
Jerry and Chrissy,
Okay.
and Chrissy, Miss Robinson, I should
And
say.
does it align with the, aligns with the AR?
Yeah, but in here, there's a lot more detail about credit recovery, so I don't know if you want
Yeah,
this
because I'd like to see
incorporated
it just
into the
not
AR,
necessarily
because it talks
because it is,
about
but, yeah.
all the things like a certified content area teacher must develop a program of study designed to address skills and objectives, not master supervise the course. Grades for transcribing the grade, you know.
Okay, that would be good to look at.
I don't think it needs to be rolled into the
Yeah.
AR. I
Not
think
right now.
if we've
Yeah.
got that as our guide
writing.
But I mean, make it as a reference.
Right. Yes.
Make this as a
Yes.
reference at the
Yes.
end,
Yes.
have it a
Yes.
reference.
As a reference.
Yeah,
As
this
a
as a
reference,
reference.
Right.
Because you now
Yeah,
got that.
let's do
where
that
you
as a
know
reference.
Whether it's being followed or not followed.
It's an
and
expectation
what
to
results
follow.
are.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
have that
what-
as a reference.
Tweak that.
And the more
Because then the other part to that one, it lends credibility to
Universal.
the vision, presented the vision developed, because
Okay.
there was positive feedback on that document that Chrissy
Yeah,
and Jerry worked on.
That's cool.
so we'll use that as a reference and then send it to y'all.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Because I liked, receiving this and reading, I thought it was really well
And there
done.
was positive feedback.
Yeah.
That's good. I like to see that.
And I'm sure it is, and our concern is just
Right.
that there is nothing different in that.
Then what's in
That's
the AR.
contradictory.
Right, and you're not seeing beyond this.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
Because this isn't more of an overview, this is
Right.
much more
Yes.
detailed.
Right.
yes.
That's a
Yes.
procedural.
Right.
Yeah, this
That's
tells you
what-
how do you
that's
do
what
it, this
captured
says
in the
we do
vision.
this, but it doesn't
Right.
list 1 by 2 by 3.
Okay.
You know,
All right, let's move
academic.
into the graduation one. So that, the only, what, so this is the updated one. Okay, could you change the Kate to the CTE?
Mhm.
Okay, because that's their new terminology, right? Okay, did you change the one about IB? Okay, so look at, and I'm jumping around, so if someone has something before this, please let me know, but I'm looking at 6, Roman numeral 6.
Okay, I did have one under Roman numeral 2.
Let's go back to that,
Roman
sorry.
numeral 2F. The sentence where we're trying to say that the part of the high school curriculum regarding the United States government requires the students to take the exam that immigrants take to, that sentence.
It's
really-
from the reg, actually.
That's actually from the reg?
Yeah, and there was a typo because it says form before it said from. That's from the regulation.
Oh,
And
my
It is.
goodness, because I read that and I was
It's
like,
from the
yeah.
regulation.
Okay, all right.
But we had,
It is part
yeah,
of
we
the
fixed the
state.
typo, we had from instead of form, we
Okay.
fixed that, yeah.
Yeah, it is part of the state
It
requirement.
is, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
Had
yeah,
the same
and
sentiment.
I get that, that's
I know.
from the state
I read it,
requirement,
I was
but
like,
can we
wait,
say
but
that
that's-
in a different way? That was the,
No.
in a less
It's
confusing
honestly
way?
in the
Okay,
regulation.
all right, then we got,
But the flip side of that is, there should be a commonality of man that, let's say this is a basic standard, guys, that, right, we could at least have discussion on these items.
yeah,
But part of me was like, what? And then you start thinking there's a commonality amongst men, right? That we should at least have
oh, yeah,
these foundational knowledge.
yeah, I don't have a problem with being tested on that, I just had a problem with the way it was written
Yeah.
there, because it just seemed to, I thought there must be a simpler, more direct way, but
So you were on
6?
6,
Yeah.
okay.
And it says that Beaufort County School District High Schools,
Yeah.
I think the terminology changed from when I read it earlier.
Yeah.
It changed.
I
Okay.
had the AP removed from that, because this was, it was redundant.
Okay. We only have one high school, right, that offers IB?
Yes.
Wait a minute. You were
As a
at,
diploma model, the answer to that is yes, and
I don't,
And-
we used to have more than one.
We used to.
Yes, we used to
We used to have
pattern,
several.
yes.
So,
you were asking about number 6. We were thinking about that was from another one that we worked on yesterday,
Yeah,
but
because
if
we-
you look here, I think it's exactly the same as
okay, so Beaufort County School District High Schools offering students the opportunity, so you're gonna leave it as that because there is a chance that there might be more than one high school that offers it?
We
that
find
right?
something to
Where's
write
that?
about.
Number 6,
Because it's written plural
right here.
versus
Yeah.
singular, that's
Okay.
right.
So
Right.
then, is this a
Right.
choice
Big.
program?
Page 4.
So
Actually,
Beaufort
it's a-
County School District students are eligible to enroll in the IBD program on an
At
open?
Hilton Head,
Yeah.
they have space.
Yeah, they
Is
are.
it choice?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
And if
So
they
do
get
they ever have space?
transportation.
Yeah.
And if they have
Yeah.
transportation.
Right.
It's tough to hear that.
Okay.
We're not
Take that
gonna let
void.
that- we're not gonna
Yeah,
let that get
that's
in the way.
void.
That's not this department. That's not this
Yeah,
department.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if a student wants to go there and has transportation, that is a
Yes.
choice program?
Yes,
Okay, good.
and yes.
Okay, good.
And then we had conversation about bilingual diplomas, and we went
Yeah.
a whole gambit in conversation.
Did you? Cool.
Yeah, and
Love
the
it.
only thing that we did have conversation to add, that, and we are gonna have to resit, we're looking at the addition of Cambridge/ACE courses, we're trying to get the state language,
Mhm.
and with regard to it, because it is, the state has now approved Cambridge courses at schools. It is a 6.0 weighting. There's one school in the state that's utilizing it, and we're looking at how to integrate that here.
For next year.
For next year.
For next year.
No, same thing, no.
Okay.
So Cambridge has a curriculum that actually goes middle school through high school.
Okay, got it.
It doesn't have the same membership, it doesn't have the same cachet-ness as my child is an international baccalaureate diploma child, and I understand that because I was an IB principal for years.
Uh-huh.
So, but it's a great tool for accelerated courses where students who may not be at the same level of level 5, but I got a kid who's a strong 3,
Yeah.
the curriculum's designed for kids who are a
Got
strong
it.
3.
Yeah.
So, and it gives opportunity for college credit to be earned.
Okay.
So in a year from now, we're gonna have to revisit
That's great.
this a little bit.
That's great.
okay?
Yeah, well, probably revisiting it, as you think about a couple of things. If the International Baccalaureate program is still gonna be at one school, and we're gonna have maybe 6 or 7 high schools, and it's all an isolated area, I think we need to think about making that IB program a little bit more centralized if it's gonna be open
Right.
to the whole. You know, that's the first thing. I mean, I'm not saying take it away from Middleton and I'm saying maybe get another school that's offering
They
it.
did have it.
Yeah, I know we did,
Yeah.
but at the same, you know,
Not for years.
well, they don't want a bunch. The
Yeah,
more,
Peter-
the more
yeah,
little
Peter
programs
Pan,
we
Peter
have,
Pan's fine.
the less effective we're gonna be on any of those programs.
So,
Because all of them is teach the teacher how to teach in that particular system, and by the time we get that teacher trained, they're gone. But we can have a weaponry of teachers teaching the same thing. That's my mindset about these, you know, programs. That, you know, what do we have at Bluffton now? What's that program? Bluffton High.
well, they have a strong AP
Sure.
program.
AP.
She actually
Yeah.
has their AP
Huh?
programs.
At AP Capstone?
Oh,
Capstone,
yeah.
yeah. You got AP Capstone. That's a
We've
strong.
had 3 high schools.
Right.
Yeah, well,
Beaufort,
Yeah.
Bluffton, and River High.
okay, then that may be the one we focus on
Right.
as the model
I
that,
would mention with that capstone,
Yeah.
those are 2 elective AP classes. I really like the focus on our AP program to be on our strong core
Yeah,
classes.
yeah.
I mean, it's a gimmick, it's a marketing tool.
marketing, yeah.
And they've not started grading it hard. If you look at the kids who are passing the capstone classes,
Yeah.
they're still drawing it in. And it actually, last time I looked, the only thing that I've ever seen it being accepted for in the college is elective credit.
On the capstone
As a
courses,
capstone, right.
right,
Yeah.
but not the
Yeah.
academic content course
No.
that student has to sit
Yeah.
for. Because I
Right.
believe they developed the capstone model in order to blend it to be more inclusive rather than exclusive practice, because they weren't having appropriate representation
Well, I think they
of the
developed it
students.
honestly to run year long, and so they
Wow.
needed to back it up with something, before being honest.
I am, because I was part of bringing capstone to another school district, and their idea was to have it, to provide greater accessibility as well for kids. Because AP courses, the tests are probably the hardest course to pass, versus, let's say, an IB diploma class where there's a little more diversity on the avenue, that a kid can pick the questions they want to respond to, right? They can with a diploma course and stuff.
It's
Then I
more
think we need to
specialized.
clarify this supposed to be inclusive, because I know the selection process
That's-
for putting kids in capstone in this district has been very exclusive.
Yes,
Yeah, of course.
You have to
Yes.
apply and be
You have to
accepted.
yes, that's a whole other yes.
Right.
And that's a whole mind shift that has to happen, because, yes,
Is that the same as
Build up to be
Eagle
part of it.
No,
Is that
our
different?
Eagle Scholars Program was to encourage students, and which doesn't exist anymore.
Right, okay.
Was to encourage students to choose to take the most rigorous courses. It was an in-building
Okay.
rigor
Right.
enforcement, not enforcement, encouragement,
Okay.
to say, okay, these kids that come into high school, and it is their goal for themselves to take the most rigorous courses that we offer for any core class.
Okay.
I heard
That's what
that.
you said.
Yeah.
But it's no longer being done.
Where is the capstone taught?
Capstone is taught in either 10th or 11th grade, or what schools?
10th or 11th?
It depends, how they have it designed.
Right, it could be 9 through 12.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Well, because some kids could take an AP course at 9th grade if you're taking an APU in geography, right? So it depends on what the curriculum is designed for that school site. You know, and actually AP allows Spanish to be at the middle schools.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a very strong native speaker population, you can actually push AP Spanish Lang, not Lit, which is a successful kid, so, you know, they're very, yeah, but that's not Tony
I
also.
just think this is a sidebar,
Yeah.
you know, going on, following up with Mel. I think one of the things you have to consider about the program at Hilton Head is that it has a self-feeder program.
Yeah, the NYP and the early.
And, I mean,
And a great
let's be
partnership.
realistic about that. And I think if, where the AP program does not have a built-in feeder program. And so you do have different playing fields about creating that natural involvement or that natural participation.
I think you could argue pretty effectively to say that our honors classes are AP feeder programs.
Yes, yes.
And we could think, I mean, the College Board does offer pre-AP classes.
Yes, it
That might
does.
be better
Yes, it
to
does.
increase inclusivity, that
Yes.
you have these kids who take the pre-AP to make it more accessible to them.
But if we're looking to increase the IB participation,
But
okay,
why are we-
across the county, that's a
That's
different
the
discussion.
argument, that
That's
is,
a different discussion.
why IB?
Yeah.
And why do we have to increase that if we have another model that works? But all I'm saying is, the model's got to be it's got to be equity in whatever the models are.
Right, right, right. And that IB program is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Expensive, exclusive, and we put a lot of money towards getting 12 people with diplomas at the end of the load.
Yeah, I'm not sure, I think the expense has,
the other part.
it's
Yeah.
decreased,
Yeah, but
the
I-
expenses, yeah.
But I think you have to look at the amount of kids who
Maybe just
actually have
start it,
access to diploma classes. Because when I spoke with the principal from Hilton Head, I asked the coordinator, the middle years and diploma coordinator there, do you open this up to all children if I just wanted to take a course? And I was told yes.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah,
Right,
yes.
so that is really important as well,
Yes.
right?
It
So
is.
you may have only this group who want to continue with earning a diploma, but how many tests are students actually sitting for and being exposed to that curriculum? That's a better number for us to have a,
Yeah, and the
Is
same
it being
analogy can
effective
be
for
made
us
for
now?
the
I
AP.
don't mean
The same
disrespect.
analogy can be made for the AP.
but you taught there.
Yeah, how many people have been fed into that program?
Yes.
See, that big, that's-
Yeah,
that's
that's
all.
to me-
We need
We
some
can
of this.
talk about
Yeah,
it.
so.
It's a
Yeah.
future discussion.
Yeah, that's
Right,
a
it is
future
a future
discussion.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
not lose sight of the feeder program. The feeder program does
It does.
perpetuate its own.
Yeah.
And they have a very good partnership. Both those principals are very close, Pat and Steve. They speak to each other on a daily basis. And they have a level 1 through 5, right? Three at the middle school, level 4 and 5 at the high school. And one of the things IB looks for is that relationship, right? Because they don't approve many split middle years programs. IB, especially on an evaluation where they come in and reevaluate you. And they had a very strong response back at their partnership between those schools. So that's a good thing.
Because they're both
But even
really good.
that playing field is at Asian level because the first 5 years, children on a different field. And half of the children not
In
on
the same
the
building.
playing field at all in the same
Well,
building.
yeah.
When they get to the middle years program, some of those kids are very in tune to what middle years program mean. And others now have been creative arts. They're filtered into the IB thinking they don't have a chance. And that's a big thing.
That is,
Those are issues for another time.
Another day,
Stay
yes.
on our agenda.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about this? What is SREB CTE? I don't know what that is. That's a.
I don't know what
I know
that
most
is.
acronyms,
But,
but I
I'm
don't.
not familiar.
So,
And
the
I want to
South,
ask you something real quick,
Okay.
just real quickly. So I pulled off the latest regulation just to double check all the stuff this afternoon. And under 2D, it says physical education or junior ROTC. So I don't think marching band, I can't find anything in this reg that says marching band.
That was one of my questions, is
So I
marching
need to,
band
yeah, I don't
considered?
know how
Are you
that
getting
marching
credit for
band
that?
got in there, so, because I don't see it in this reg.
So it should
Because
just
it says here, physical education,
I don't know if you
junior,
put that in there.
junior
it
ROTC.
should be junior ROTC for each military branch, that's a J, that's what
Junior.
J stands for.
Mhm.
But I don't know who put the marching band in.
But what we're gonna say is, we're gonna, instead of saying JROTC, we're gonna say junior written out like it is here.
Okay.
Physical
Yeah.
education or junior ROTC and take out the marching band.
And then,
Marching band's not in the state regs.
No.
No, I mean, I
Well,
ran it off, I wanted to double check everything one more time,
Yeah,
triple
it
check
comes
it,
as
quarter
PE
check
credit,
it.
so we better, I'm sure we
That's
have
an
kids
issue.
in marching band
Who are,
that
that
aren't
is-
taking PE because
But
they're
it-
marching band.
But I'm gonna check with the State Department in case there's
You
something
need
that I
to,
missed,
because
yeah,
it didn't
that's,
schedule done that
Yeah.
practice, because I don't know, because I didn't read it.
Okay. All right, one more questions on this one?
3G, I need to change it as well.
3G?
Yeah.
Thank you.
For some reason, I'm gonna have to check with the State Department about that, and I'll do that, and I'll let everybody know in an email, okay?
Okay.
And that might have some major issues for us if we've been giving that credit.
So that's something new.
Yeah, grandfather,
grandfather.
No, it's new in there this time,
Yeah.
it wasn't in it before.
Okay.
It wasn't in the old one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't in
You
the
might
before.
want to check.
I'm checking, no, I know it wasn't in it before.
On number 7, under the math and science, where it says all year-long honors classes. In a 4x4, do we have year-long classes anymore that are honors?
Where are you?
Kind of a hybrid.
Number 7.
Oh.
So it says all year-long honors classes are awarded 1 point. And I guess, I know that we're doing the 4x4, so they're not actually a year long, so I just don't know if that needs to be changed. Nancy, I'm looking
I
at-
don't know, I don't have complete knowledge of all high schools' course offerings, but I don't know of any year-long class that's offered every day, all
I'm
year.
not, in ELA, I'm not aware of
I'm not aware.
And especially not an honors
Because
level.
then it would make it,
Right?
Now,
right.
here's where
There-
it may have gotten the confusion in science. We do, because
Oh, labs.
AP Chemistry and AP Biology are 101, 102, you could possibly earn up to 8 college credits for AP Biology, because it's a 2-semester curriculum.
Okay.
We do offer it year-long, but you can't give more than 1 credit for an AP class, so we pair it with a
Right.
science lab. And so maybe it was meant to invoke the science lab class, because it runs year-long, but the science lab AP it's AB.
Okay.
So
Right.
it goes year-long, but it's not any longer than any other course that we offer. It's not like I have 180 days for that one course, you have the 2 grades.
You
So
get
maybe
to-
that's where that came from. I don't know what math
But-
might have,
So I don't know if that's a problem, it's stuck out to me, so you guys that are the experts in this,
I've not heard of any year-long honors.
so if I were to read this as a parent, or, I would just question that.
Because that was in the prior, that was.
Right, it was prior
changed for
before you,
the-
I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
you went to a 4x4.
Yeah.
So when,
I
yeah.
think that they
Once-
stuck for the transition for a bit, but now they're out. But I don't hold me to that for all the content. I do remember when you said that the lab registered.
I just think that needs to be looked at
So
also.
how do we describe these
if you
courses
just
that
said
are?
it was
Just say
honors,
honors classes,
As
take
long
out
as it's
year
a
long.
honors.
All
Yes,
honors,
take
yeah.
out all honors classes, yeah.
Yeah,
just
that
as
corrects it.
something I've been asking.
Right.
Thank you.
Who evaluates students for meeting the requirements of a STEM diploma? Who does that check?
Melissa might be able to help us with, I don't know.
Who
does
determines,
that?
who evaluates transcripts to say who has met and who has not met the STEM diploma requirements?
This would be.
Oh, so
Okay.
if this is a part of, the accreditation, so there is an accreditator, they're escaping my mind, that comes down if it's a STEM school. So if it's a certified STEM school, it's been certified by somebody.
From the state for STEM, and
Yeah.
actually, we were speaking,
Who
I may not say their name right, it's not Matt Hall.
So-
St. Helena Middle
But I mean,
is a
I
STEM
think her
school,
But this
he's
is,
going through that
this
right
is
now.
a
Right.
diploma,
But this is
STEM
the
diploma.
diploma
Inside.
So-
versus
Now,
a STEM certification. That would be at the school site, and then confirmation of guidance. The guidance counselor should be
I
doing
would guess.
confirmation, right, of transcript that you meet the requirements for. That would be your lead guidance counselor, be either your graduation coordinator, or they break it down at that school by a 12th grade person.
But this would be recognized at the school level.
As a-
Should
as a-
be-
you would have
would
to-
have
yeah.
to
You would have to be
recognize it.
awarded
it,
right?
Right. That confirmation should come from the school
Yeah, we
level.
have to, that's what my assumption.
Does anyone know how many STEM diplomas we had from each of our high schools? Because
I'm not
I don't
seeing that at
remember.
this
I
time.
think maybe checking that and maybe encouraging a little more diligence at checking transcripts might get our numbers up.
I didn't know we had a STEM diploma.
Oh,
We
I
do, because we're STEM certified schools.
Well,
Right,
again, I mean,
but the option, and I understand what you're saying.
I think at one of the graduations, I
Karen does
remember
have
when
that
the kids came up with
Karen,
their
I wanna
diploma,
say
they
that.
said,
STEM,
this is
yeah.
a STEM,
Yeah.
They have
cool,
STEM.
STEM.
Oh, and then
Parent
names.
building had
Names for them.
Yeah, let me,
I know
I'll
there
ask.
were some kids who had to come in and ask
Where it is, that were,
why were they not recognized as a STEM diploma, and I encouraged a few kids, I said, are you being recognized, and they said no, and this is in
Guidance
the,
counselors might not know.
this is in the handbook, and the formula's there, I made a little check sheet, and I said, well, fill this out. And
There is some qualifiers for certain courses that you have to take.
so these
and
kids
then-
had passed AP tests in math and science and were CATE completers, so I don't know how they could possibly not also be a STEM diploma receiver.
So we need to have some accountability for this piece.
Or just make sure that
Yeah.
people are checking
Yeah.
on it,
Yeah.
because why would we not want
Or
to
the guidance counselors are conscious of it.
to be recognizing as many
Absolutely.
kids as we could?
Absolutely,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And for another day, not now, but just talking about the number of credits that you have to have is 24, but with a 4x4, you're set up for at least 32. And are we really encouraging kids to graduate early? And if we do, then they can't be recognized as a top 10 because it's a whole nother conversation. 24 total, but a 4x4 is set up for what, as a
Yeah.
minimum what now?
But are
Reason.
4x4 gonna be kept by the district? Is that gonna continue?
Don't look at me, I didn't
Well,
vote it in.
yeah,
I'm just saying, that's
That's
conversation.
four
4x4
Another
is
time.
something that's in the best interest of the student.
That
Yeah,
is a conversation, that's on that
But when
list.
it's an
Depends on
argument.
what student.
Yeah,
I think the reason
Some
that they
principals
change
like
so
it,
much
I've asked.
is that there is no best model
Yeah,
for
it's a good
everyone.
there's not any best model.
Some principals
Right.
like
I mean,
it.
how long could they concentrate at a certain age? Those are the things I was
Yeah.
thinking about.
And, you know,
They-
transitional
Maybe the
population.
graduation rate increases
So-
as a 4x4.
We'd like to
But I'm not
dedicate
really following
one
what they're
whole
doing.
meeting just to that.
Problem.
To talk
More
about
credits,
4x4
yeah, we need
versus
to 4x4 than the
Like
like,
some of the ELA electives
I
that
mean,
we
still
have to
8
take up
classes every year.
That's for, yeah,
More
we-
creative, more creative writing.
But you can finish it earlier, I think is what they're saying. It's not that there's more credits, you just have the opportunity.
It's 32.
Yeah. So we'll plan a conversation for that and would appreciate everybody's input, so. All right, so now we're
Thank you all very
to,
much,
yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you, children's literacy.
Inside your packet, you have a large copy of a continuum from birth all the way to grade 5. And what Ashley and I hope to do is we're going to have some images behind us, but we're going to take you through this document, or in front, yes. We want to take you through this document just through the lens of a student, a child from birth. You know, all of that's offered to them through literacy in this way. And you can see, yes, we didn't staple it, so you can maneuver it however you would like.
If you line it up like Dr. Stratus has,
Children.
I know.
And poor Ashley, she has a
Yes.
course
Yes.
through it,
I am
so-
so sorry. I don't have much of a voice, but I'm going to try to do my best. And I'll be glad to repeat anything you need to repeat. We're going to start at birth. And if you look at the birth column, we have our Born to Read program. So this program was started by the district in collaboration with Beaufort Memorial Hospital several years ago. This program gives their child the first book at the hospital. So they're in a hospital room with trained volunteers talking about early literacy, how important it is to read to your baby. This program is now their own 501c3, but the district sits on their board of directors and also funds some of their program in order to continue the efforts that the district and Born to Read are helping you and your child learn to read early on.
Is it also at Hilton Head Hospital now?
It's in Hilton Head Hospital as well as Coastal. So a lot of Beaufort County babies are now born at Coastal because of a large group of OB/GYNs that separated from Beaufort Memorial.
I thought those were both places.
So actually, do we provide any funding for this?
We do.
What kind of funding?
Annually, we provide about $5,000.
$5,000?
That provides, and it pays for the Plain Talk to Parents book. So it's a book, parent education resource that goes into detail about reading to your baby, reading milestones, how important it is to have conversations with your baby, talking about, as simple as having a conversation about why you're changing the diaper.
Yeah.
And so we do fund,
And Ashley, what's your total budget?
for early childhood.
I guess so, yeah, because you do just up to
I do up to kindergarten.
kindergarten,
Yeah,
right?
Carmen Dillard and I and Melissa, we kind of overlap with kindergarten.
Okay,
But I'm funded out of 3 pots of money, so a very small amount of general fund, and Title I is my largest pot, and then
Okay.
state EIA funding.
okay,
So about, I can give you approximate numbers.
okay, that's all, yeah.
Okay. General fund is less than 40,000. EIA is about, we're, with Child Find expansion, now we're about 300,000. And then, Title I is also about 300,000, and that's give or take.
And how much do you need?
That's a
If
good
you could
question.
do it, if you-
Well,
Are
don't
you
go
gonna
there
do it?
yet.
Don't go
Don't
there
go
yet.
there
All right.
yet.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
So, the next program on the list is Reach Out and Read.
Can I just go back to the first part?
Absolutely.
Is there any assessment to determine how many of the parents are readers that get these books?
It's a good question. So so at 4 years old, when our children come into the district for developmental screenings, Born to Read is providing a survey at those developmental screenings to talk with parents on a one-on-one basis to see what did they participate in the program and kind of where we are with reading to your child on a daily basis. It's a pre and a post
So
survey.
nothing's done at the hospital at this point?
It's not done.
Not that the school does anything.
All we're doing is we're tracking the number of books that are going out to the families. We're also tracking GED and family literacy referrals. So if the mom, as we know that the literacy level of the child is directly impacted by the literacy level of the mother. So we are tracking, does the mom have a high school diploma, or does she need a high school diploma? If she needs one, we are referring them to the district with adult education or family literacy. We also are tracking if the family needs a parent educator, which we'll get into home visitation in just a few minutes. But all of those referrals are tracked, the number of books and readiness bags that are given out. And then we track again when the child comes into the district at 4 or 5 years old. That answer your question a little bit?
It does, yeah, I'm just trying to think, because we're trying to get them to read before they come to us,
Right.
4 years old. But if the parents can't read, I'm wondering how good is the book?
We put things in place to help that for the
Okay.
child. So the trained volunteer that's talking with the mother about early literacy, we're asking those questions.
That's part of the presentation.
Absolutely. This group has also just recently added the Dolly Parton Imagination Library to their program.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So we've been able to fund about 250 children, which we're hoping to about 500 children next year.
Do you include anything about like the public library schedules for the early reading? Because that might,
Yes.
if a parent isn't a reader, then they could bring their child to the library
Right.
to have the read along time.
So partnered with this program is the Beaufort County Library. They hold a board seat as well. And in their packet is how to apply for a library card. So sometimes that library card application is filled out right there with the parent, and sometimes it's just given depending on the situation.
Good, that makes a lot of
But
sense.
yes, absolutely.
They've seen an increase in library cards as a result.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, and the parent reading time is crowded. I loved it.
We're hitting anywhere between 90 and 98% of new moms. On average, there's about 2,000 live births per year in Beaufort County. So we're hitting, 90 to 98% on a given year is a pretty large number of families.
Are the materials available in Spanish too?
Yes, and we do have trained volunteers that are in Spanish as well. Yes. Reach Out and Read. It's a program that's been in Beaufort County for many years. It's a partnership with our local pediatricians. So during the child's well visit, they are given a book. The pediatrician or the nurse goes over the book, how to read the book to the child, looking for developmental milestones. The Beaufort County School District's role in this program is we donate lots of board books to the pediatricians. So we're usually providing a majority of the books that are going home. This is funded through the pediatricians alone. So our donation of books, I buy lots of board books. So a lot of those board books are going directly home with a sticker on the back that says Beaufort County School District or Reach Out and As you can see with this program, parents are 2.5 times more likely to read to their children. The book is given at the very beginning of the visit, of the well-fed visit, so while the child is waiting on the doctor, the parent has the opportunity to kind of read the book and at least get started, and then the doctor will come in with some more tips.
Sorry to interrupt, one more question. I know that doing something that's not new is always like, not the best, but there are lots of parents that end up with hundreds of books that they don't know what to do with. Is there any way that you can make use of donations like that?
We do. So, Born to Read will often give sibling books too. So if there's a sibling in the hospital, they'll give books, gently used books to the sibling. The newborn baby gets a brand new book. I mean, it's their first book. But then Reach Out and Read also gives brand new books. Our program at the district, our Parents as Teachers program, will give gently used books. It's a tough situation when you get a box of books, but the other thing that we will do is the little libraries. You'll see a box on the Mossy Oaks Trail, and we'll put books in those so that's a kind of give and take. But yes, we will want books. Or you can contact
Where do we take them?
Yes.
Pink
The Pink House.
Okay,
Yes, yes, yes. The Parents as Teachers program, this program has been in the district over 25 years. We are one of 3 programs in the state of South Carolina to start this program over 25 years ago. So home visiting is near and dear to my heart. It plays a huge role in a child's development. So when we're talking about putting a parent educator with a family who may or may not have the resources to understand reading to your baby, talking to your child, just the basics, developmental milestones of, is your 1-year-old saying a few words? Is your 2-year-old saying almost 3 or 4 words together? Just helping parents understand those basic skills, but we're also helping the parents meet their basic needs. So it's very difficult to teach a child educationally without their basic needs met. So a lot of the parent educators are going into the homes of children birth to 5, not only working on basic needs, but they're also working on school readiness skills. So we target our teen parents in the district, encouraging them to graduate high school. That's very important that the mama gets their high school diploma, but we're also working with just at-risk families. So we have 6 parent educators currently. We had 7. During the last budget cuts, we had 1 parent educator that we lost 1 parent educator, but on average, we're serving about 100 families.
And to build on that, our adult ed program is one of the that allows high school credit to adult ed to get a full high school diploma, not just a GED, which also they are eligible for a dual enrollment. And I was speaking with Dr. Morell today about they could do dual enrollment. It also means what? They could do career technical education classes as well.
Yes.
So she's going to start looking into that. So just put a little bug in her hat about that today.
Our home visiting program is a blue ribbon endorsed quality program. It was one of 3 in the state of South Carolina. There are several more now, but we are highly endorsed. And we have a curriculum that the parent educators go in and work with the children on. We have to teach teens that are in this situation that it's okay to mother and parent your child. A lot of them say it's not cool to sing to your baby, but it's one of those things the parent educators really work on with the parents to make sure that they're getting those basic readiness skills. You have a question?
Typically, how many visits will one of your teachers
Yes,
meet
parent
with
educators.
with a parent?
So depending on
Teenage parent.
depending on the needs of the family. So if it's a very high-risk family, they could receive up to 4 visits a month. If it's a lower-risk family, every family gets at least 2 visits a month.
Is there another part of the responsibility for the parents? You might not know this. Is there a state law or something that a parent has to continue to be educated?
There are some social services that are tied to certain requirements for a mother. Not many. but a few. I can't name them off the top of my head, but a lot of, if you're receiving TANF, which is also known as welfare or something like that, mom has to be in school. If you're receiving an ABC voucher, which is a child care voucher, you have to be working.
Well, I'm going after that. Do we have a program to support those particular parents, different from the regular run-of-the-mill school? Is there a pregnant teenager program that Beaufort County has? Is there a early mothers program?
Other than our program?
Other than what you're telling me here, which I see it and I understand is genuine because you got no money to do anything with it.
I do a lot with little kids.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying,
We do
but
have,
you know, 25 years,
yeah,
40 years from now, you're gonna be the same place.
yeah.
You got 6 teachers dealing 2,000 new babies every year.
Right, well, how
Just
many
the numbers, just-
teenage pregnancies? I mean, what numbers are those?
I can't give those off the top of my head. I can't, there's no way to track that.
Right.
I can track the homebound, the one who's going
Right.
homebound
Yeah.
from the
How about the
district.
other?
I'd have to ask Kiki, Swinton, Miss Swinton on that.
Should be closer to knowing.
Yeah, she would.
It'd be closer to just knowing. I mean, people in our school, you can find that out in terms of the number.
Yes.
So they need some kind of,
Correct.
I don't know how to say it, mandated services. They need some place where, okay, you're not in school, you gotta go
Right.
to this.
Mhm.
And you're a newborn, you got to go here.
What about childcare?
That's a government issue now.
It's government, it's ours, we are the
So
government.
we have Beaufort County First Steps.
I'm not saying,
Yeah.
I'm not saying we can do it. I'm talking about, we have to look into what the government does have in terms of that, and are they following through with it?
Right.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
We do have Beaufort County First Steps, that also has a Parents as Teachers program. They're only able to serve about 15 to 20 families, on their limited budget. And then of course we have Head Start, who serves a very limited number of families based on their budget.
Okay. I've had that
We could do
conversation.
more with this program.
Yeah, I've had that conversation with the Head Start people.
Yes.
And I put Dr. Rodriguez in touch with the director of, what you call it, EOC now. EOC.
James Williams.
Yeah, James Williams, yeah. And, because they want a partner with the district in terms of
Okay.
getting more,
Yes.
Mhm. Education to the younger children through the parents. And I don't know, of course, that's tied into the government, so
Yeah.
maybe then you could get some tie-in for.
This
for us.
program originated out of St. Louis, Missouri. And in Missouri, the state government funds that everybody has a parent educator in the state of Missouri.
For what
Every-
age, for what ages?
Different
55.
ballgame, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So everybody has access to a parent educator.
How many parent educators would you say you would need to serve every family who needed one in this county? You have 6.
I have 6.
What number would serve everyone who actually needed one?
I would like to do a more in-depth needs assessment. Right now, I don't have a bilingual parent educator. That's a position that's open right now. So we're not able to serve a Spanish-speaking population right this minute. We have families that need to be served, but of course, I don't have anybody, but we're getting there. So I would want to do a little bit more depth in needs assessment to answer that question fully, but it is a very impactful program.
What qualifications does a parent educator have to have?
Right now, we're just doing a bachelor's degree.
A bachelor's,
Mhm.
and what's the salary? Is it, yeah, I mean.
So the requirements of the program is a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
We have parent educators in the district that were grandfathered in, who have
Okay.
been there since the program's inception, so they were without a degree, yes.
Okay,
So it needs a salary,
The district, we're paying anywhere from 28,000 to
it's not instructional salary.
and it's a 260-day position,
I'm sorry, you said 28 to what?
35.
Just to,
Yes.
we're having this discussion, and I guess what I'm about to say may also require another meeting. but this district has been gracious in looking at past 12th grade support of local universities, and yet we don't seem to focus on the kids coming to us. We take care of the kids that are leaving us and try to do things with our local universities and colleges, but here, this is our population, this is going to be our feeder system, you know, and perhaps we need to have a different
So,
lens
May I?
of how we look at this.
so what predicated this conversation is a like-mindedness within this building, of a belief that, Tony, you're saying it, Mr. Campbell has said it, having the interventions early enough, putting them in place,
Right.
developing language acquisition, reading skills, and if we do this right at early ages and putting the right teachers at the right, you know, at kindergarten, increasing pre-K, look what could happen by third grade.
See, I'm saying more, I'm
Right,
saying that we're
right,
putting
right.
resources right now into post-grade 12.
Right,
Yeah,
Okay, and not,
yeah.
but right,
that's a judgment call.
it's a call that was already executed because that budget is
Yeah,
already in
I
place.
I understand
That's
that.
why
So
we're
we're trying
throwing
to
it.
switch
That's what I'm saying, so let's move forward.
Yes.
And because one of the
And
things
this is
that I
step one.
yeah, one of the
Just
things in your
be aware of
assessment is,
this.
come to us with a
Yes.
magic wand.
Right.
Because, you know, I'd rather fund kids that are coming to us than kids who are leaving us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, can I beat that dead horse some more?
So,
What I think, what came to my mind, I think that's what Tony's saying is, there are other agencies out there that do things for adults. The correctional system, our law enforcement, that we can engage in doing something earlier because it's just fundamentally more sound.
Yeah.
You know, you can throw them in the prison later, or you can educate them
Now.
at 1, 2 year old. And we got to drive that horse
Right.
as the educators. That's, I think, is where we're going with it. Not just how much funds, we don't have any money, but other people do.
I have seen this program, and I've been here 11 years. I have seen this program begin to break the cycle of generational poverty. And I see that by a teen mama getting pregnant in high school. She has a baby. Our parent educators helping them graduate high school, get enrolled in TCL or USCB, and they're back standing on their own 2 feet, out of their mama's house.
we do it the right way.
And they're doing it the right way.
Yeah, I know it can be effective,
There's-
but we want a bigger
Right.
Well, we're
number.
having a budget
Budget
conversation.
next meeting.
But that's exactly where we were going with
Can I
that
attend that
earlier.
meeting?
Hey, everybody's welcome.
I've also seen this program be implemented with certified early childhood teachers, so a combination. We have some really good parent educators that are doing a great job and are pros at this. But I've also seen it implement with a stronger emphasis on school readiness versus the social service. So some families are paired up with more of a social service type parent educator, and then some are paired up with more of a school readiness type parent educator, depending on the needs of each family. So again, both impacts the family and the district regardless.
Yeah.
Keep driving bus.
Yes.
So it's on the ground.
Yes.
That's what you need.
So let's talk a little bit about Beaufort Jasper EOC Head Start partnership. This has been a game changer in our district. So about 10 years ago, we formally partnered with Beaufort Jasper EOC Head Start, brought all of the Head Start children into our schools. So at Davis Early Learning Center and St. Helena Early Learning Center, we have 6-week-old babies to kindergarten. Head Start children are the most at-risk children in our district. By partnering with them, we've been able to align curriculum, align assessment systems, align professional development. We make more data-driven instruction decisions based on where the children are coming from and what the children need. So essentially what we're able to do now is track a child birth through the 12th grade. So if a child is, and we've created a birth through the 12th grade school system by doing this. Like Mr. Campbell said earlier, we need to be able to serve more children in this capacity. Head Start's waiting list is well into the hundreds.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
It's,
Title I's federal, right?
correct.
EIA, state or federal?
State.
State. And then, so you have the three funding sources are federal, state, local.
Yes.
Okay,
So Head Start is a grant, federal,
okay.
and keep in mind, you qualify for Head Start based on a poverty level index.
Mhm.
So we have well into the hundreds of children qualifying that are below the poverty index. We have early Head Start and Head Start in our county, which most counties do not. They have one or the other. So we're fortunate to have both. We have a very small number of slots for early, which is birth to 3 years old, and we have more Head Start slots for 3 and 4 year olds. But what we've tried to do with Head Start is Head Start serve the 0 to 3 year olds. We serve the 4 and 5 year olds to free up some more room and do some different things. So we do not currently have Head Start south of the Broad, other than one little classroom in Hilton Head in the Sandalwood apartment complex of 17 children.
I'd like to speak to that too.
Yes.
That's something that we talked about. You know, I've been in dialogue with Mr. Williams about expanding Head Start and our partnership
Yes.
from the district standpoint. And we, you know, engaged the Boys and Girls Club in Hilton Head, because they have a facility there that they really don't use. But the big thing he said is space.
Yes.
The big problem is you can't find space
you don't have a lot
to
of
house
space
the
out
program. And so, I think we're gonna get that done next year. I think there will be a Head Start in the Boys and Girls Club at Hilton Head. They're gonna expand, along with have the 17,
In a perfect world, I would love all of our Head Start programs in our buildings,
Yeah.
because we can truly form that alignment,
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
vertical alignment.
Absolutely. You got the right idea. Let's make the world perfect.
Yeah.
Try to do it.
Magic wand.
Try to do as much as
Well,
you can
I
to
think
get that
there's
done.
also a pretty good body of research out there that, without the schools being tied to Head Start,
Right.
the results of Head Start programs are not great.
Right.
The data doesn't
Right.
show that those kids have really, for the number of years they've spent in the program, have really made that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's critical that we're,
Yes.
So,
Working
that
together,
alignment
yeah.
is critical,
Yeah.
because, hey,
So that's one of the
That
things that
four-year-old
our research
test,
and development
you know,
program
Yeah.
will look at,
Right.
direct with you.
yeah.
We've actually got, poor Daniel,
Poor Daniel.
Yeah.
Poor Daniel, we pulled him in yesterday because we started talking on what you that's what we wanna look at. We wanna look at a cohort of kids. We can collect data from 2010. So we might be able to look at our kids up through 8th grade because the data's in there from 2010. This cohort of kids by subgroup who have had interventions that we can, and the kids who have not, and what we mean as interventions of early childhood development interventions, instructional interventions, that we can say that's in our power tools, and we wanna look where the kids are at. So, as a means to come back and maybe persuade to earn fiscal support to do some of the extensions of what in a perfect world, right, the
Right.
magic wand.
Perfect
So we
world.
wanna, so we're looking at our own data in order to,
We have
Look
had
beyond.
children
Right, right.
coming out of Head Start programs in the 70, 80, 90th percentile. Coming out of Head Start.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah,
So when we're doing it right,
Yeah.
we see the difference, yes.
So-
We do have a early intervention issue in Bluffton. So there are not enough child care centers in Bluffton or Head Start programs, early intervention programs, to serve our birth to 5-year-old children other than pre-kindergarten. So what we're seeing in Bluffton is very few child care centers that are built off of a sliding scale. So if you're a low-income family, you're not going to child care. If you're a higher socioeconomic family, you are on a waiting list for a child care or a preschool program, or you're in, but very limited child care in the Bluffton area. So we're seeing more children qualify for pre-K than typical women would if there were some interventions.
The day I had a positive pregnancy test, I got on the waiting list for childcare in Bluffton.
In Bluffton,
Really?
yeah.
And I still had to wait 3 or 4 weeks between when I wanted to start and when they could have me. We got on as soon as
Yes,
I knew I was pregnant.
yes.
Yeah.
There's large waiting lists in Bluffton. Yes,
Yeah,
if you can
right.
afford it, that's the thing. It's a little bit higher cost in Bluffton. We did some cost analysis across this accounting, and Bluffton Hilton Head, of course, is higher.
Really expensive.
Yeah.
And when you consider the culture,
Yes,
the long-standing culture of grandparents raising a child because there is no money to think about anything else.
yes,
You can't even introduce the idea and say, oh, that's not even there. If you got to wait for that long, parent with no money and no process of doing that, they're not even gonna sign up for any kind of care. They're going in that direction. And that's the thing we gotta break too,
yes.
because they're not being taught. They're not being taught how to read, and other things don't matter to them. The whole mentality is different.
Well, and that care costs $700 a month for
Yeah.
one child.
Yeah, exactly, so all that's,
$700.
exactly.
So if you have
They don't pay
two,
for nothing
it's
like
a
that.
small mortgage, but,
$2 a month, yeah, that's.
So we are partnering with the Beaufort County Early Childhood Coalition to provide, the state came out with new early learning standards for birth to 5-year-olds. So we are training the child care providers in those learning standards so they can implement them in their centers. So that's one of the things that the Early Childhood Coalition is working on as well. Most of you are familiar with Child Find Expansion. This was originally a grant that we received 5 years ago. It was so successful, the district picked up the funding this year. So on average, we screen 400 to 600 3, 4, or 5-year-olds every year. The results, depending on the results, you might be referred to a early intervention service such as OT, PT, or speech. You might be referred to the district special education department to receive district services. But it's a comprehensive program. So if you're in need of Medicaid, WIC, food stamps, we're also providing that service down there, the applications, helping you sign up for a private child care center or a Head Start program. So it's a full-blown, comprehensive developmental screening. In that, this year, we developed a early childhood evaluation team, which we're very proud of. It's been needed for a very long time. So at the district level, we are taking BabyNet referrals, which remember BabyNet is the state's early intervention system. And they transitioned to us at 3 years old, and now we're responsible for them. So we take the BabyNet referrals, the community-based referrals, the Child Find referrals, and Head Start referrals. And they are evaluated under special education at the district level. Then transition either for their service or into the classroom, like an early childhood special education classroom. The goal of this is to, one, make sure that the parent is receiving wonderful world-class customer service when they're entering our school district. So they are getting all the information they need up front about their baby and their disability or their developmental concern, but also in order to create consistent earlier childhood interventions and developmentally appropriate IEPs, so that they're consistent across the board, so that all of our children across Beaufort County are receiving those same interventions that they need.
How are you doing all this on $640,000?
That last part was the help of special ed, but,
Okay, some sped money?
yeah, some sped money, but
And we
this,
spoke about looking at dyslexia screening.
The child
but this
find.
developmental screening is funded under,
Yeah.
state EIA, that's
This
the,
is it. This is
Is
the
there any, is there any data?
And autism, spectrum
Yes.
disorders, all of those. Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Campbell,
I
please.
know.
No, your voice is so much more interesting. It truly is.
Is there any data on the development of special ed up to that screening? And my point is, no kind of child care support at 3-year-old level, and you probably are minimum, like you've explained. You're probably gonna get more children
Catch him at that.
categorized there.
That's actually, we're having a conversation, looking at, we spoke about that, as well as looking at dyslexia screening. And
Yeah.
on the flip side of that is also looking at the other side of that, screening for kids for GT. right? Are we, you
Yeah.
know, that's another place of
Right.
looking at that early on,
Yeah.
right? Because it's best to get our kids at like 5 years old, right?
Mhm.
So that's, you're driving the bus, sir.
You are.
You know?
You're singing my praises over there.
Yeah, don't take it, but, yeah.
I do have to say it is 6 o'clock.
Yes.
And you know what, I think only to be fair, you guys have been at work all day,
Yeah.
everybody's, people are traveling to Hilton Head and so on. I don't know how you all feel, but I mean, this is just the beginning, right? To try to understand what you do. So we would love to continue this conversation. We could get together with Mary and maybe figure out a time.
During the day, that I could pull. So, as you look at this document, what you see in blue is the wish.
Yes.
Got it, okay,
Okay, so and what you see in black is what we have existed.
okay.
And at meeting, I said, I said, yes, in a perfect world, because if we believe closing the achieving gap starts earlier, because at high school, we're Band-Aiding. You know, I got the kids for 4 years and I have to do everything, right? But if we can catch our children early enough, so that's a pretext that this document is written on,
Okay,
all right?
all right, that's fabulous, and then, we can, because we have so many questions, obviously, and maybe what we can do then is just plan this in its entirety, no ARs or, because we do tend to ask a lot of questions and have some conversations
I'm
around things.
encouraged with all the information and
Oh,
data she has.
yeah.
But from our standpoint, board standpoint, I think we do have to change our thought process on how to drive this bus.
Right.
'Cause
So,
we-
Especially
You
for
know,
budget.
we're not putting,
right,
Well, to that, I think a very powerful piece of data that might convince people that it's the way to go would be to look at the number of students who come in below expectations and never come out of them.
right,
Because if
Having
you can
or
bring
not
them
having the
in,
intervention of early intervention, that's
Yeah.
never catch up.
well, but
Or never,
even,
right?
even, no, just above the board, it just say, well, if they come to us and they're not meeting expectations then, and they never get out of it, wouldn't it solve our problem if we could get them
more.
coming
Right.
in, meeting expectations?
So
Because
that's
I-
kind of what we're
I-
looking at, we're taking the group
Same language.
who have had interventions, group who have not had interventions, and we're being suspect, and not looking at that, we're gonna look at their performance as well.
But
Right.
you'd have to also make sure that you're making sure that the two groups also have similar socioeconomic.
Yeah, we're looking at
Apples to
apples, apples to apples, we're gonna look at.
Right.
How do we apples to apples, so
Well, I
the
can
data,
tell you the pattern that I see is that the students who are are the least successful in high school, if you look at their background, they have never met or even approached expectations, and so it would be very powerful to
Yeah.
get more kids coming in meeting expectations, because we can keep them there, but once they start, it's hard to get them grown.
the second part is that you started bridging on is also that parental involvement, be the young teen parent and the requirement of the reading and involvement. We can't, by as a school district, require XYZ because there's no licensing for parenting.
I know.
But what we can do is put systems in place or coursework in place to support the teen
Absolutely.
parent, but then maybe reach out even greater to the community, to the other our other parents, right?
What you will be doing is creating a culture that's a cultural shift.
Yes.
And you won't have to worry about that parent not supporting the
Well, how
child in
about
seventh, eighth grade,
Single
ninth grade.
parent working 3
10th
jobs.
grade.
Right.
But yeah, they are in tune with, I want my child educated, and he's been successful in the 3rd grade. I'm gonna keep it up until the 6th grade, and we're gonna lose some because of other factors, but the more we can get going on that,
Invested now,
right, the more you're changing the culture and other people start reading and buying off. This is how it's happening. And you gotta, it's not an easy task here because of the entrenchment of the community and the same mindset over time. That's what the children are coming from these mindset that grandma is gonna take care of my baby.
It's a
It's
cultural
cheaper to
shift.
buy
A lot of things have to be done.
Very much.
That's deviates from the norm.
But thank you, this is such a comprehensive, this is fabulous.
Follow, or do you wanna do it at the next, which way do you wanna?
I was hoping that, I'm gonna send that template out to
Okay.
you. I'm
Yes,
gonna
ma'am.
add this onto that template now.
Oh, thank
And
you.
then when we get together at our next meeting, Robin, would we be able to meet the keeper of the holistic calendar? Would we be able to meet on the 16th?
Yes. Which one?
October.
October.
Oh, yeah, we are, you're here now, we're playing catch up.
And
Yeah.
remember,
So
You
there is,
ready, bud?
at 6 o'clock, there's probably a listening and learning
There's a
presentation.
referendum.
There is.
planning on
Yeah.
going to that
Referendum.
at Battery Creek, so we were gonna
Yeah.
start at
4
4.
o'clock.
It's a good idea, start at 4.
Yeah.
So then we're just gonna have to make sure we.
And just focus on this?
No, we're focusing
No,
on
we have to
the
do the
budget.
budget.
We have to do we have to have our budgets, we have to have
Our
that
budget
done prior to the
priorities.
workshop.
Yes and no.
So we'll talk.
There's no way we could do both.
Oh,
No.
not this group.
No.
This, I don't mean it in a bad way.
Yeah.
I mean, because the questions are necessary, right? It's a learning growth for everyone.
Right.
So I'm just being,
Right.
can we meet a little earlier?
Like 3:30
Yeah, I can.
Can we meet at 3?
I can meet at 3.
Mel?
Can you meet at 3?
Well, we'll
Mama
buy-
says you
I'll-
just
I'll-
tell
I'll buy
me.
John's.
I just tell me I'll be there, that's what I
That's right,
told you.
that's what he tells me.
Tell you that all the time.
This way I can have you on.
Just tell
3
me I'll
o'clock?
be there.
Yeah,
I'll make it
3
happen.
o'clock?
yeah,
And
sure.
I'll
Three
be,
So they
o'clock
could do
meeting
both,
started.
finish this and then do budget?
No, we're not finishing this, is my,
Oh,
my
no?
recommend,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no,
No,
only,
we're gonna do
That's why
budget.
she was trying.
This is
Yeah.
I was
budget.
trying so
no,
hard.
I don't
Yeah.
think so, but I think we have a much better understanding, because actually, we have to look at, this is something new for the committees are being tasked to put together some type of priority budget. So just by what you've done right here, and because of Mr. Mel Campbell, this is,
It's bubbling up. It's bubbling
So-
up.
To be honest,
We're in the reset
This
some of
is,
the
you know, there's one of three
priorities.
strategies, and this is one of the strategies that I think is critical for us to take seriously.
Yes.
oh, and I would agree.
Yeah.
And without what you have just done
Yeah.
this afternoon by
And
sharing
to
this
hear the
with us.
literacy from of the fifth, because it's critical. And we've had the discussion about numeracy and inquiry as well. You know,
Yeah.
what are we doing? And when, you know, I know you
Yeah.
didn't get to hear, well, everything, but when you listen to the standards on the LA, they're not just about reading a story, they're about logic
Oh,
and
very
developing
much.
and
Yeah.
learning.
I-
So
I
those
looked at the
skill
early
sets
learning
cross
standards
over
the other
into
day.
the content areas if we do it right at the early age.
Right, agreed, agreed. So we will come up with a date to ask you to come back to finish
Okay.
and enlightening us on, and thank you so much for what you guys have done thus far. So much of this is not necessarily, as a high school teacher, as a middle school teacher in this district, I didn't know all this. You know, maybe you did. So, thank you.
3:30.
So we're going to meet at 3 to 5:30 or
You know,
What
I
do we have time
think
to
3 to
cross over?
5, 3 to 5, because then we all do want to go to Battery Creek High
Debrief
School
and
that
then
night.
go
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 to 5, okay? And it's
And then we'll
really-
get another date that I can have a continuous.
Absolutely,
Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
They've done
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
Dr. Rodriguez to be part of it, and he
Yeah,
didn't.
he had the conflict.
Right,
Yeah,
so I think it would work out if we could schedule,
yeah.
Around.
yes.
Yeah.
And
yes.
actually, I mean, this was a lot of information,
And a lot
but
of
I'm
work.
gonna go back, oh, yeah, no doubt, but I need to go back and,
So the blue things
Understand
we're
a
not
little more.
currently doing?
Now then, that's our,
That's what it's
To a
like.
degree,
I'm reading some of the, I'm a retired elementary principal, so I'm reading this and going like, we're not using grade level text, we're not,
well,
we're
No.
not.
so
Patty,
listen to it from a
Right.
different perspective.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
I mean, if we have time to engage slightly, some of it is around the intense change in standards. So to continue to train teachers and what do these new standards look and sound
That's
like, and then making sure that we have that as appropriate common language, and then the text. So yes, they're in place, but could we shore up our language? Yes. So that is a continuation. You've heard me talk about phonics work, yes, but that needs to grow, and we need to do a better job. So some of these, yes, they're happening, but could we grow? And can we
Get
have
better at
a
a
better
common language.
understanding?
Yeah.
Can we build our
Yes.
common language?
Can we use words their way, by any chance?
We do, so that is a current resource in our schools.
What grades though?
It is available in all of the elementary schools, so it starts in
It's a.
kindergarten all the way up to fifth grade.
Okay, not middle school?
Based on.
Was it?
Not too much, no. Middle school, a lot, they contend with just the amount of time.
Exactly,
So that's a tricky transition,
yeah.
as you can
Would
imagine.
it be okay if I ask to get a little more detail on the parties who went to that meeting?
Please, yeah.
So we can
Yeah,
get more
because
detail
do
on
I
the
see the
budget, so
number
it's
of,
specific
you know, we asked that question, how many
Yeah,
parent educators are you?
Yeah, she said 5, and then you said six are you?
No, your wish list. I don't see, is there a number on here for wish list?
There is not a number on there for a wish list, but
Okay.
I would want to do a more in-depth needs assessment for that. Not that I can't come up with that, but.
But if I could have it by this meeting, just in a perfect world,
Yes.
in a perfect world.
Okay, great.
So I'll make the revisions and bring it back to the next.
On the 16th.
Motion to adjourn? I move. Mel seconded it, I'm sure.
I did, I second, yes.
I heard it.
Thank you, everybody, so much. Oh my gosh, this is so
Thank you.
exciting.
Great job.
So exciting. No, thank you. Thank you.